It is now 6:30 and we are calling the meeting to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Alderman Bob Mayor Elyse Miller, and Alderman Bob Heinzelman will deliver the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and each day you give to us, as they are certainly a gift from you. Thank you for your blessings you bestow upon each of us here and all of our families, both here and abroad. Please continue to bless this city, state, and country's leaders with wisdom, compassion, and resolve to make our communities better. Heavenly Father, I extend a special prayer to the Bird family for the tragic loss of their child this past week. Please give them peace and comfort during this very difficult time. And Father, please bring peace to those families in Belgium and all other communities that have endured baseless loss of life. We know your will be done. It's in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Can you read it?
Okay. We're now going to proceed with citizens to be heard. I'm going to call each citizen's name as well as the person who's going to follow. I'd appreciate it if y'all would be ready to speak in turn. Please give your full name and your address. Maggie, followed by Mike.
Good evening. I'm Maggie Couts, 122 Mossy Cup West, and our Honorable Mayoress and our Mayor and the City Council, thank you for listening to us. I just have a question here. As you know, the Shavano Park Women's Club had to cancel our meeting last Tuesday on March 22nd after we'd heard some information that possible legal implications would be a problem for incumbent candidates, and based on that, we went ahead and scheduled. And there was just so much confusion. You know, we've had a 60-year history with the Women's Club of our service to the community. We certainly didn't want to compromise any of the integrity of this service or the integrity of any of our candidates. We could have proceeded, but we weren't sure what direction to go in. And we wanted to make sure that all incumbents could participate. And actually, we had some incumbents that volunteered to not be present so that the others could participate, but this is not what that event was all about. It's for everybody or it's for nobody. And we thank everyone who was in that vein. With that being said, I hope there is somebody here that whether it's the mayor or council members or whatever, that can give us some knowledge of the facts of the Open Meetings Act or the TML League, so that we can address our concerns and make sure that in the future, if we go forward with this, we just need a better understanding of what happened. We, again, in no way want to compromise the integrity of our event or the candidates who are so gracious to volunteer to run for the service in our city and our community. And so if that could happen, I would be most appreciative. Thank you very much, and thank you for our acting mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Maggie. Just as a little bit of background and factual information for everybody that was intending to come and that showed up, and we appreciate all those that did. 10, 11 days ago, I started by contacting our city staff about the possibility of an agenda for the meeting with 3 council members running for election, and the fact that our other council members have been common participants, common visitors at all of the Meet the Candidates that I've been involved with. It was very obvious that there would be like a likely quorum to be present. And I checked with our staff. We got into the beginning of the next week and still didn't have any confirmations. And so I gave Charlie Zeck, our city attorney, a telephone call. And I asked him about the ability to hold the meeting in the absence of a clear agenda within 72 hours. And Charlie explained to me that anytime that you have a quorum of the city council members who are present and one or more council members speaks concerning a matter of city business, that you are required to have an agenda, and the agenda has to be posted at least 72 hours in advance. I conveyed that information to Marcia Stipek and the Women's Club, just to let them know that it would be difficult for our council members to attend, that they would be basically left to the dilemma, according to our city attorney, of either attending and having a possible open meetings problem, or one of them not attending and being disadvantaged by doing that. When I got off, after speaking with Marcia, I explained the situation. We noted the possibility of the open meetings violation, and Marcia and the Women's Club took the position that it would not be fair to the city council members to proceed and to ask one of them to not participate, although I do appreciate the offers by the different council members who did offer not to participate. By mere chance, the Texas Municipal League, or TML, actually happened to issue an article on this subject Friday of last week. There had been citizens who had said that the forum was not going to be an open meeting, and so that the Texas Open Meetings Act would not have applied. The article from TNL very clearly said that it would have applied and that it would have been necessary to have posted an agenda. As always, I appreciate the efforts of the Women's Club. They're very hard workers for our community. I appreciate their sense of fairness and not intending to disadvantage anyone, and I commend them for their high ethical standards. Charlie, is there anything that you can add as far as the open meetings?
No, what you've stated is accurate. Anytime you have a quorum, with one exception, anytime you have a quorum of the governmental body together in a place where they don't even have to speak, even if they're just receiving information that they have control over, public business that they have control over, that's a violation of the act if it's not properly posted with specificity and within 72 hours of the event.
Thank you, Charlie. Our next speaker, Mike Colomer. Mike, you're going to be followed by David. David, if you could be prepared and if you could give your full name and your address, Mike.
Mike Colmere, 111 Painted Post. You're a hard act to follow, Mr. Mayor. You basically, between you and Maggie Calls, have basically said most everything that I was going to say, and I don't really think I need to stand up here and whip a dead horse any further. I would like to say that I have offered the Marcia Stipek and the Women's Club to help defray any costs that were incurred by them to put on this meeting, because I was one of the people who questioned that it was a legal meeting to be held. And I know there's many people in the city that would be more than willing to help, chip in some money if there's any need to do that. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. David?
Mayor, council members, my name is David Pierce. I live at 118 Fawn Drive. And I know this isn't on your front burner, but for about a month, the fire hydrant at 125 Cliffside has a fire hose hooked to it, and it's been running. And to me, that just looks like no one's paying attention, and it's a wasted resource, and I hate to see a resource being wasted. Also, when I went down into Salado Creek, there's a mosquito pond down there. So I would just, I don't know, I'd like someone to be more on the ball and other people to keep an eye on this kind of stuff. And also, when I drive around Shavano Park, I do see some code violations. And I left in a neighborhood that had a homeowners association, which I'm happy to leave. I didn't want to pay the dues anymore. But I just think that if I can see these violations, I think that whoever's in charge should be able to look and see these things also. So just to keep everything in check, so we don't ever have to have a homeowners association. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Bill, did you have a comment?
Well, if I can address the fire hydrant. And yes, we do have a fire hydrant that's hooked up with a pressure relief valve. And so, as you know, most people know, we're painting the water tower right now. And typically what happens is the water tower, the elevation of the water puts a constant pressure in there, which is predictable into your systems. Once you drain the water tower, there is nothing providing pressure into your system. So we've had our engineers and our guys look at how we can do this. What it requires us to do is turn pumps on constantly. And if you turn, water doesn't expand and contract, it pushes and it builds pressure. And ultimately, in order to maintain pressure, we've got to maintain that. But if you put too much pressure in your system, what happens is your pipes will break, and you have to have a safety valve for the pipe. And so, in fact, we have 3 pressure relief valves posted, and the area near cliffside is the lower part, and so it's more elevated up at the top of the city, up at the north of the city. So the greatest pressures are on cliffside and down on the southern part of the estates. That's where we have 2 of the primary things. So what you have is you have a small amount constantly streaming out, and then when the pumps in Huebner kick on, because we have to cycle the water and all of our wells in associated with, the pumps kick on and it puts a lot more pressure in, and then it builds up that pressure. So we've looked at different solutions. We actually have reduced it greatly, even though it doesn't seem like it, by installing variable frequency drives on the water pumps. And so we've had a contractor out here every 3rd or 4th day. In fact, yesterday, this morning, I guess it was, trying to adjust those variable frequency drives to get the right mix. It's hard because the pressure on the south part of the town is so different than the pressure in the north part of the town. And so there is a little water usage. I'd be glad to talk to you in advance on that. I will tell you that compared to, the guy that's overseeing this is Johnny Burschwall, overseeing our public works director using his license. And we've asked him about the water usage, and this is a routine function of requirement to paint your water tower. So again, I'm not saying that we like it, but it's within the acceptable means. We're looking at how we can reduce it, but most of this water is coming out of the Trinity Aquifer also, so we're not incurring the expenses of the Edwards Aquifer fees. And the last thing I would say is that I'll call you tomorrow and we can talk code enforcement, and I'll be glad to take those observations.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you, David. Okay, here he goes.
Council members and the mayor will now share opening comments.
I normally don't take the opportunity to make opening comments, but I want to welcome Mayor Miller here as our mayor for a day, and I commend her on her service, and she's doing an absolutely wonderful job.
Alderman Barrier.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, and then I would just like to congratulate our Public Works Water Director. He got his water license.
Alderman Heinzelman.
Thank you. Welcome. I just wanted to, we've had a lot of great things going on in the city, but I wanted to just give a word of thanks to 2 things that I think have happened that have brought attention to our city in a positive way. One is our designation of Tree City USA, which coming up on Arbor Day will be a big deal. And thanks to our city staff, thanks to the tree committee and Vicki Mizell, who did a great job of getting that designation moving forward. So I think that was a positive outcome. And then also the staff, the P&Z committee, the council, all the people that have been involved in trying to be visionaries for the growth of Shavano Park and Northwest Military, with the MPO project being preliminarily approved and moving forward on that. That's a big win for our city, and thank you for all the hard work that everyone's done on that.
Alderman Heisel.
Good evening, and thank you for being here.
Alderman Maisel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening, and I would like to say to the Women's Club, I appreciate that we know a number of us offered to not attend or to just come and make statement of our name and then leave. And I appreciate the fact that you wanted to be fair to all the candidates, and it was at a great expense to yourselves. And that was a very selfless thing to do, and believe me, we all appreciate it.
Thank you for the honor of serving as a mayor for a day.
Thank you, Mayor Miller. We're now going to proceed to item number 5. For the first item, Mayor Werner will present to Mayor Miller a plaque in recognition of her service. Let's go down to the very front so your lovely mother and father can see us.
See this on the background.
Mayor for the day, Elyse Miller, presented this the 28th day of March, 2016, by Mayor Robert Werner and the City of Shavano Park Council. Congratulations. Okay. You want to read the announcement? Okay. The first announcement, City Manager Bill Hill will make an announcement concerning the upcoming citywide garage sale.
City Council has designated April 2nd, 2016 as a citywide garage sale day. On that day, there is no permit required. The city will place an advertisement in the community newspaper. If you wish to participate in the citywide garage sale and would like to have your address published in the handout map, please contact our permit clerk, Marissa, no later than noon, Friday the 1st. And we will be assembling maps with all the locations of the garage sales. They'll be on our website, but they'll also be posted in the front of the City Hall where you can pick a hard copy up and go from there. That concludes my report.
As our next announcement, Alderman Vicky Maisel will make an announcement concerning our community's recognition as a Tree City USA.
We received this from the Arbor Day Foundation. The Arbor Day Foundation named City of Shavano Park Tree City USA. City of Shavano Park was named a 2015 Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation in honor of its commitment to urban forest management. Started in 1976, the Tree City USA program, sponsored by the Arbor Day Foundation in partnership with the U.S. Forest Service and the National Association of State Foresters, is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Shavano Park achieved Tree City USA recognition by meeting the program's 4 requirements: a tree board or department, a tree care ordinance, an annual community forestry budget of at least $2 per capita, and an Arbor Day observance and proclamation. Tree City USA communities see the impact an urban forest has on its community firsthand, said Dan Lambie, president of the Arbor Day Foundation. Additionally, recognition brings residents together and creates a sense of community pride, whether it's through volunteer engagement or public education. Trees provide multiple benefits to a community when properly planted and maintained. They help to improve the visual appeal of a neighborhood, increase property values, reduce home cooling costs, remove air pollutants, and provide wildlife habitat, amongst the other benefits. Congratulations to the City of Shavano Park.
Thank you.
As our next item on the agenda, we have our proclamation declaring Arbor Day and Earth Day, April 23, 2016. The proclamation reads, whereas Arbor Day started in 1872 when J. Sterling Morton called on farmers and homesteaders to replenish the tree population By observing Arbor Day, we emphasize the importance of beautifying our town through landscaping of trees and as we serve as trustees for future generations. And whereas, since 1970, when like-minded groups of Americans brought environmental protection to the forefront, Earth Day helped support environmental programs, rekindle public commitment, and public community activism. And whereas the mayor and city council of the City of Shavano Park hereby encourage all individuals, businesses, civic and service associations to participate in tree planting and cleanup events, to participate in the city's Arbor Day, Earth Day activities on Saturday, April 23, to recycle and celebrate nature, and to support efforts promoting awareness and the value of trees and our environment. Now therefore be it proclaimed, I, Mayor Werner, for the City Council of the City of Shavano Park, hereby proclaim April 23rd, 2016 as Arbor Day, Earth Day in the City of Shavano Park, encourage community enhancement projects such as tree and shrub plantings, litter cleanup, and other environmental work efforts, and highlight that the City of Shavano Park was designated a Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation and administered by the Texas Forest Service. Vicki, congratulations on your efforts, and I commend the balance of the council members and our community citizens, and particularly our tree committee. Randy, you've got a great group that you're working with wherever Randy made it to, and thank you for the hard work from you and from your committee. Y'all are doing a wonderful job. Yes. Oh, no.
As our final announcement, Rondi Wayland will make an announcement concerning our community's upcoming community picnic, sponsored by
Marietta.
Thank you, Mayor Miller, City Council, and our former mayor, Werner, and citizens. I bring you happy 60th anniversary birthday greetings from Martin Marietta Quarry. We are going to have our 4th or 5th, I can't remember how many years Martin Marietta has given us this great all-city picnic. It will be from 4 to 7 on April 30th. That's a Saturday. Everyone is invited. We'll have a bouncy house again for the kids. And for us older kids, there'll be horseshoes and washers again. And come and meet your neighbors, have some fun. Bring your kids, bring your grandkids. Let's make this family fun and have no political things. Let's leave all that for Facebook stuff. So please do come, and everybody, happy 60th birthday, Shavano Park.
Thank you, Rondi.
I will now turn the balance of the agenda over to Mayor Warner.
Okay, Mayor Miller, I want to thank you for your service. You've done an excellent job. Mayor Miller has to go and get ready for the STAR test. They're the rest of this week, and I know she's going to do an absolutely amazing job because she's such a wonderful student. And we are so lucky to have her as a member of our Blackman citizens. They're an absolutely super group of students. We have the best teachers in the North Side and the best administrative staff. So, Mayor Miller. Well, I'll try to come up to the standards of our mayor for the day. She did an absolutely amazing job. Our first presentation, as item 6.1, is introduction of Bexar County Medical Society as Executive Director and CEO, Steve Fitzer. Steve, would you come forward and tell us a little bit about the Bexar County Medical Society? I think you're going to have to use the lectern if you don't mind. We can turn it around.
There you go. That makes I have to stand here.
Yes.
Okay. Bexar County Medical Society is very proud to be part of Shavano Park. We moved here on January 11th, and it's a 163-year-old organization here in Bexar County. It is the first county medical society in Texas, We have 4,700 members. 1,000 doctors live in Shavano Park, believe it or not. So it's a good place to have a building. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are. And I'm going to, if I have to do it this way, I guess I'll turn this way a little bit. Anyway, our mission is very much to represent physicians and ensure that patients receive quality medical care. We focus on that in everything that we do to try to make sure that medicine is practiced by doctors and not by insurance companies and not by governments and not by all the other entities that want to try to practice medicine, that is practiced by doctors. And that is our mission, to make sure that happens. This building here, as you can see, our building was named Building of the Year on March 18th, I believe. The American Subcontractors Association named our building the Building of the Year for 2015. So we're very proud to say that that's in Shavano Park. It's a beautiful building inside and out. If we change to the next slide, we did the groundbreaking here, and we had the former mayor. You can see him over here on the far left. We also had the mayor of San Antonio and this handsome guy here, and Ron Nurnberg, and the judge was there, and the former president of BCMS, and he was, James Humphreys was the president the year that we broke ground, but that was on March 30th, so we built that place in about 9 months, so it went pretty quickly. Just some shots so you can see what it looks like in the inside. This is where physicians come and meet. It's also a historical medical library. We have thousands of medical books there, and lots of history books about medicine, so it's a very nice place. We also have some very large conference facilities. We can accommodate about 100 people, and most of our committee meetings and physician gatherings and that sort of stuff are there. Anything that's bigger than that, when we have some of the larger gatherings of 300-400 physicians, we do that in an off-site place. We do have Class A office space for lease. We've got about 6,600 square feet left to lease. We occupy the second floor. We lease out the first floor. We have a staffing company that's in the first floor. We have a biologics firm that is looking at another space, and we've got about half of the downstairs space still available. So if you know anybody that's interested, it's a nice building. You don't have to explain people the address so much. You just say, look for the Alamo-shaped building, and they can find you. This is a picture taken at the recent installation of officers. It shows 15 of the living past presidents of the society. This is the current president, Dr. J.S. Shaw, and some of these fellows have been around a long time. I think Dr. Benavides here is probably the oldest one up there. But there's lots of former doctors that were former presidents of the society. I don't know if any of you go to any of these doctors, but they're all pretty good guys. This is the BCMS staff that lives in the second floor of the building we just looked at. We have 24 that live in that building. We do have a service that a lot of folks don't know that we offer, and that's a Find a Doctor service. Many of you find yourselves in a situation where you say, I know I need a doctor, but I don't know what kind of doctor I need, and I don't know where to find him, and which one's the best, and all that sort of thing. We do have a service. You can go online at bcms.org, and you can find information all about the doctors that operate in Bexar County. You can also call the Medical Society at 301-4391, and someone will answer the phone, and you just tell them this: I'm looking for somebody that does this, that's in my zip code, or they went to school in this particular place, or has this particular specialty. Whatever it is you need, all of that's available, and it's available to everybody in the county, but we're here in Shavano Park. You can even come on down and visit. We can do it in Spanish or in English. We have a lot of social media that we put out there on Facebook and Twitter. We'd really appreciate everybody to go out there and find Bexar County Medical Society. We do postings every day about current health issues, things that would be of interest to citizens of all types. I talked a little bit about protecting the practice of medicine. There's lots of issues out there that the doctors are very, very familiar with, and this is some of them. When the ACA was rolled out and has taken over the medical world, the insurance companies, the first item is an insurance company issue with narrow networks. The insurance companies have found that if they make really narrow networks with only just a few doctors in it, then everybody's out of network, and then they try to avoid paying all those people that are out of network. So it becomes a cost reduction method for the insurance companies and a horrible thing for the doctors. Balanced billing. Some of you may have been in a circumstance where you went to the hospital, you got seen at the hospital, your hospital was in network, and your regular doctor was in network, and then suddenly after you get released from the hospital, you find out all these bills that show up in your mail, and you say, well, wait a minute, how can this be? Everybody was in network, so now they're telling me these people are out of network and they're billing me directly. Again, that's another move by the insurance company to try to say, well, they weren't in network. That narrow networks cause that and puts a physician in a very uncomfortable position of providing the service and not having an automatic mechanism to be able to bill for it. So they have to bill the patient directly. And then you have to sort that out with your insurance company. Lots of tricks like that get played. Scope of practice is an issue. Lots of people that didn't go to medical school want to practice medicine, and they try to lobby for that right. Prompt pay, that's just trying to make sure everybody that provides medical services gets paid. ACA insurance grace period. Some of you may be aware that there's a 90-day grace period for the ACA. You sign up for it and you buy the insurance online. If you go see a doctor in the first 30 days and then you never pay your bill, the insurance company has to pay that 30-day bill. But if you go between 30 days and 90 days and you didn't pay your insurance bill, then the doctor is just stuck. He doesn't get paid for those 60 days. Anybody he saw that was in that particular gap, he doesn't get paid for it. One of the rules of Obamacare. Physician-patient relationship, we lobby about and educate our legislators on that all the time. Medicaid funding is obviously a big issue in this state. There's the cost issue, but there's a lot of federal dollars, hundreds of millions of federal dollars that get left on the table that never come to Texas. They go to other states because we refuse to match the dollars. And graduate medical education funding. We have lots of medical schools in Texas, but we don't have enough graduate medical education slots to put them in residency here. So we train them in our medical schools here. We send them to other states to do their graduate medical education, and they stay there. And they never come back because 70% of physicians stay wherever they did their graduate studies. So that's obviously an issue. These are some of the services that we provide to our members. Advocacy is certainly a big one. Continuing medical education. Doctors have to have a certain number of credits per year. We have social functions that we have for the doctors. We have an automobile program that enables them to get cars and financing at good rates. We provide credentialing to hospitals and surgery centers to make sure that the doctor's been checked out and they are who they say they are. We provide meeting space. Circle of Friends is a way for businesses to be able to attend medical functions. Philanthropic opportunities, we do lots of that. BCMS Alliance is a spousal organization, and then I talked about the Find a Doctor service. Next slide. We have lots of boards and committees. You say, what do the doctors do? Why do they need that great big building? Well, this is one of the reasons here is all these different boards of directors and committee meetings. For example, when the Ebola virus hit in Dallas, what happens? Who takes care of that? Well, people say, well, the CDC looks after that, and they tell everybody what to do. But in reality, the CDC takes it to the 10,000-foot level and then drops it on the community. And it's up to the community to figure out how they're going to do that. For example, the wagon goes out they get a call and they say, well, there's somebody that's sick in a particular house, and they want to know whether or not they should pick them up, leave them there, quarantine them in place. What do they do with the people that are living with them? Do they quarantine them there? Do they take them somewhere else? All those kinds of questions happen, and the physicians have to get involved, and that's what the Dallas County Medical Society, which is our sister city up there, they are the ones that instructed everybody exactly what to do and how to handle it. The same thing would happen here in Bexar County. The physicians would step up and tell them what the procedures and processes need to be. Anyway, we're very proud to be part of the Shavano Park community. I moved here with my wife, my lovely wife, Wendy. We moved here in 2005, 2004? 2004, I think we moved here. And we lived in Bentley Manor on Manchester Way. Then we moved up to Burnett County for a while. I retired. That was the second time I retired. Now I'm unretired again. And now we're just about ready to move into a house here in Willowwood. on Granville Way. So we're proud to be part of the community, both as residents and as a business to support this, this county by being in Shavano Park. Any questions? I would like to thank the mayor and Bill, the city manager, for their kindness towards us. They've helped us get oriented in the town and offered to help us in many ways, and we really appreciate that and look forward to working with all of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. Our next item is an update on refuse and recycling services within the City of Shavano Park. Tom Armstrong from Republic Services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City staff. Mayor Werner, I think you should probably hope Miss Miller doesn't decide to run for your spot. I'm not sure that I like
Absolutely.
your chances.
She was enchanting.
Congratulations to that young lady. That's a great honor. My name is Tom Armstrong with Republic Services. I've been with Republic Services for 11 years. I've been in my current role of Municipal Services Manager for a little over a year now. The City of Shavano Park is one of the accounts that I do manage. We have a great relationship with the City of Shavano Park, a great communication system with Zena, and I speak to Bill whenever something gets escalated a little bit, but we have a great line of communication between the two in the partnership. We'll do the bad news first, which is the price increase. I'm going to go to the next slide. Up, up, up. One more up. There we go. So the bad news is the price increase. The good news is it's probably the smallest price increase I've ever seen in my 11 years with the company. The amount of the adjustment beginning April 1st, 2016 is 0.12%, and that's not 12%. That's a click over a 1/10%. So the residential rate goes from 2184 to 2187, so very, very nominal price increase there. And those that PI amount also applies to commercial and industrial businesses within the city. So that's per the contract. It uses a CPI formula that's in the contract. Highlights of the last year, it's always been a pleasure for us to partner with the city in their Earth Day, Arbor Day event, which is again coming up. We participate with the document shredding as well as the e-waste. Megan Lira has headed that up, and I think her older brother Chris did it for a number of years before she did, but we partner with her, and we bring a bunch of Gaylord boxes out here, and we do the electronics recycling, and we filled 8 of those boxes last year, which is probably a couple cubic yards full of electronics that got recycled instead of going to the landfill. So it's a great event. We're proud to be part of it. We sponsored the petting zoo out there, which I believe we're doing again this year. In addition to that, we partnered with the city on National Night Out. We helped sponsor some of the food and entertainment for that event, and then we participated in the city holiday event as well. So we're proud to partner with the city in these events. 2016, the coming year, pretty much the same schedule. We're going to be again active in Earth Day, Arbor Day event, again working with Ms. Lira. And then I put some dates for the residents for the brush pickup schedule. The first spring event's already passed. That was February 22nd. The fall event is the first week of October, which is the 3rd through the 7th. And then again, we have National Night Out coming up after that. The next thing, I'll kind of clarify it for you, but per the contract, any proceeds that come from the residential and commercial recycling in the city, we split it with the city after processing costs come out of that. Most of you are probably aware that due to lowered commodity rates, it's getting tougher and tougher to recycle. You can see the amount that went back to the city in 2015. Although it was fairly close to 2014, you can see it declining. I wish I would have put the tonnages on this, but what you will see is tonnages that recycled tons that are coming from Shavano Park are increasing, and the rebate is decreasing, unfortunately, and that's due to the lower commodity rates. Then I put together some facts on recycling. It is getting tougher and tougher to do as processing costs continue to rise and commodity rates shrink. And we feel that it's imperative that we continue to recycle not only in Shavano Park, but throughout the San Antonio market. It's the right thing to do, and we'll continue to do that in the community. With that being said, commodity rates are at a 6-year low currently. It's basically due to challenges with glass, a reduced demand for fiber, falling oil prices affect the value of plastics, as well as a drop in global manufacturing has caused a subsequent reduction in the demands for raw materials. So we've seen commodity rates drop 40% over an 18-month period. So it's just getting thinner and thinner. But I'm here to tell you that we're committed to recycling in this community, and it's our hope that the commodity markets will turn around. And on our end, we're looking at ways to improve efficiencies on our side so that we can improve that as well. Anyone have any questions on that?
Michelle?
We ask this every year, and every year citizens are gung-ho about wanting to recycle glass, never coming back, never going to be.
I want to recycle glass in this community. Unfortunately, with the way the market is right now, we would just be losing money. Right now, we're not making any money on it. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do. If the commodity markets turn around, I'll commit to the city that at the first opportunity to do that, we will, and I'll work with Bill on that going forward. Fair Oaks, we did start recycling glass in Fair Oaks, but in return for that, they renegotiated the contract with us, added some time to it, and their price went up. So it's possible. We can do it. We can talk about it. Just depends on what your interest level is, whether wait it out and wait for commodity rates to come back down, or we could look at doing it with some sort of modification to the
Because I think that's one of the problems we have with our recycling, that people put glass in it even though we tell them not to, and then you end up throwing out more trash that we can't get credit for.
It increases the processing costs for sure. So hopefully we'll get to a point where we're able to do something on that.
Alderman Heitzman?
So it was kind of on the tails of Alderman Ross's questions. So, Tom, I asked this last year as well, but it mentions the outthrows, use that term as outthrows, which is the glass with the rest of the recycles. Do we have any, I was gonna ask the same thing, because, I know we have a lot of momentum on recycling, but I have the same issue as Michelle does, is I think a lot of people don't realize that they're trying to do the right thing, they're trying to recycle, and yet we're probably throwing away what percentage of that recycling. So I guess my question for you is are our outthrows, are we educating the communities better? Are we getting better results than we did last year or the year before in regards to outthrows? Because to me, that's kind of the bottom line.
I think the city's doing a very good job. I think you have responsible citizens that want to do the right thing and are very meticulous about what they put in there. We have a lot of communities that are much, much worse than Shavano Park in that regard. That's good. We can always do better. So I'll continue to work with the city through communication and education. And that's part of what we do at the Arbor Day, Earth Day event, and the National Night Out. We set up a little booth and we have information that we give out. But I think we can do some more, and I can work with Zena on that and putting out some flyers. And you know, I need to be reminded about things every so often, so a refresher is always a good idea.
Are you able to quantify those metrics on the outthrows that we're talking about? Do you track that?
We do. I don't have that information with me, but I can get that and give you a.
Provide that to Bill for us?
I will. Yeah, and we can do a little comparison on that. We're steadily seeing tonnages coming from Shavano Park recycling go up, so more and more people are recycling in the community. Some of that might be due to growth, but I think it's people getting educated and wanting to do the right thing or the real thing contributing that, and I don't think it's solely glass being placed in there. But I think we should work on continuing to get it better and better. Because the better educated people are, the lower that processing cost is for us.
When you talk about the recycling glass, would it actually get recycled, or would you just take it with our recycling?
I'm glad you asked that. I've always been upfront and transparent about that. We do now have an outlet for glass. The processing fee is substantial, but we do have the ability to do it. So it is going to a company in town that holds it until they have a load, and then it goes up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is the closest recyclery. That's the biggest problem that we have. If we had a glass recyclery in San Antonio or even Austin, those shipping costs would be much, much less, and we'd be able to do it. To answer your question, if we pick something up to be recycled, it is recycled. I can't necessarily say that for the rest of the industry.
Do we have any other questions from council? Bill, do you have any comments? If there are no further questions or comments, thank you very
Very
much.
good.
Tom,
Thank you.
we appreciate you being with us today.
You bet.
Item number 6.3, update Shavano Park Citizens Tree Committee. Randy.
Hello.
Oh, you're already up there. I'm sorry, I was looking down, reading my notes.
No problem. Good evening, Mayor and Alderman. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Randy Smith, and I'm the chairman of the City of Shavano Park Tree Committee. If you don't know, we formed that committee in 2015 to, the terminology would be to provide non-binding advice and input regarding possible oak wilt, tree trimming, and generally accepted urban forestry practices. So, what we have now, as far as our staff or as far as our committee goes, we have 11 citizens on the tree committee, 1 city staff member. We also have 1 city alderman on the committee as well as a state forester. So we have quite a large committee. We held our inaugural meeting on October 20th, 2015, and we've held a total of 5 committee meetings starting on that date. So we've been busy. To help promote these urban forestry practices, we created 2 subcommittees to work with national organizations to receive both recognition and assistance for City of Shavano Park. The first goal was to apply to the Arbor Day Foundation, the National Arbor Day Foundation, for Tree City USA designation. And anybody who visits Shavano Park, drives through Shavano Park, or lives in Shavano Park would agree that we're a natural candidate. There's a lot of beautiful trees. We have a great landscape here for that. So that's a natural fit for us. As Alderman Meisel mentioned earlier, there were 4 prerequisites to achieve that, and a couple of them which we had to do. Some were in place and some weren't. One of the ones that we had to work on was a public tree care ordinance, which was passed in December of 2015, and we needed to get that in a way that was workable for everyone, and we were happy to get that done. Fortunately, we got that submitted with the help of some of our city staff, and I think we had our last meeting sometime towards the end of December and got the application in before the end of the year, which allowed us to get that designation, which was just, I guess we received that on March 9th, 8th or 9th. So we're real proud of that. We have a second designation that our tree committee is working on right now, and it's called Firewise Community USA. And it's similar to the Tree City USA, but it obviously deals more with fire prevention and fire control so that we don't have wildfire issues here as well. Chief Naughton currently has a draft of the action plan that's required, and we have a subcommittee that we've formed to assist with that, and we hope to get that submitted sometime soon. In addition to Tree City USA and Firewise Community USA, we also have an Oak Wilt subcommittee. I think everyone is concerned and everyone is aware that Oak Wilt is a potential problem here in Shavano Park. We took as one of our committee meetings, we took a field trip or a site visit to Hollywood Park, and we were able to see firsthand the after effects or the devastation that you can see if Oak Wilt is found within the community and allowed to spread. So I think everyone was impacted by that to see what could happen, and it was hosted by a Hollywood Park resident. He's also the state forester, Mark Duff, and we got to see firsthand. At this point, it's basically up to his backyard, so he's very near and dear to the problem as well. So one of the good things that came from that, we're able to see some of the things that Hollywood Park did. We're able to share some ideas with them and learn some things from them, and I think it's my belief that working with other communities similar to Shavano Park, we can make some positive progress and not necessarily reinvent the wheel. So I think we had a good experience with that. Right now, our tree committee is currently working with the city staff on several actions to improve Oak Wilt prevention and education, and that includes things like improving notification to residents of acceptable months for tree trimming. We want better signage for that so that everyone knows. Improving the process and education for commercial tree trimmers, and also improving the processes and education for residents who want to do their own tree trimming. All those are areas that we hope to make better for everyone involved. So as part of our Tree City USA certification process, our committee also assisted with the public tree care ordinance. And one of the things that we'd like to do with that, and that we're currently looking at, is doing a tree inventory, at least a sample tree inventory, so that we can get a better handle on which trees within Shavano Park are public trees or within the public domain, and then put together a management plan that allows us to take those public trees and either improve that landscape or at least make that give it a better appearance. So that's one of our next projects we hope to achieve in 2016. The big event that we have coming up is the Arbor Day and Earth Day event, and it's been done before as an Earth Day and shared this previous year as a Arbor Day, Earth Day. So we've got several members of our tree committee working with the other community leaders on planning this year's event, and we've got some great events going on, including what's been talked about already, some recycling. We're going to have the Arbor Day proclamation and a tree planting. We're going to have some tree and plant education and giveaways, and several local experts providing short talks on earth and tree related subjects. We also are going to have a tree identification walk. I would have to say that it's been common for everyone to say, gosh, is that an oak tree that's dying there, or is that, and we all agree that it would be good if everyone had a little bit more knowledge about which tree is which. So one of our state foresters, Mark Crozy, is going to do a walk and help point out trees and help us all learn a little bit more about which ones are which. And in addition to that, we're going to have an art contest for Blackman Elementary students and some other children's activities, including a nature scavenger hunt. So we hope to get some of our local kids involved in all that as well. So that's going to take place on Saturday, April 23rd. It's from 10 to 2. Everybody's more than welcome to come, and please do. We'd love to have everybody participate and have a good time. So for now, I'd like to thank everybody, the members of the City Council, residents of Shavano Park, for all of your support, and we look forward to making positive changes within our urban landscape.
Thank you very much, Randy. Y'all are doing a great job. Do we have any questions from the council members that y'all would like to extend? Your committee is a great committee. I know that they're a hands-on type of committee, and want to commend you and the members of the committee for y'all's service. Y'all are doing a wonderful service to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 6.4, discussion action ordinance O-2016-004, approving a no U-turn sign on Lock Hill Summit at the southern entrance of Bentley Manor. Bill, what can you tell us about this?
Well, again, this is the second month. I briefed you initially last month. Just as a reminder, residents of Bentley Manor and the Homeowners Association president had requested we take a look at doing a traffic study and putting a U-turn sign, no U-turn sign, prohibiting a U-turn at the southern entrance of Bentley Manor, right across from Building 4350. There's a map that shows all that there. In your packet is the sample ordinance, the map, the U-turn study report. At last month's meeting, council did approve the first reading of the ordinance, but directed with consensus that the staff contact the business owners of Building 4350 and coordinate a position that they would have associated with that. And so I've reported in the staff summary, but I'll just kind of highlight that. I did send a letter to not only the business owner, but also the tenants that are all inside the building. And I exchanged emails with the business owner, myself, and he put me in touch with the property manager as well as the lease manager of the building. I had a meeting with them last Monday as well as the building engineer on site. So we talked through that. Again, I will tell you that their position was not as strong. No, we don't want you to do that. Their position came out as, well, if you're going to do that, we'd like to see you do a curve cut in the north side of the exit there. As we were looking at that, and I'll just remind you that that map shows an undeveloped area north of Building 4350. Actually, there's 2 or 3 lots that are being developed there as we speak right now. North of that lot right there. So I said, well, sure, I will take your request and I will inform the city council and I will coordinate with Bitterblue, who's developing that piece there. I have sent I relayed that request to Dan and Daryl. Daryl's here now. Daryl has reviewed with me the fact that not only because coming out of the north entrance, you must take a right because there's no cut across. Well, the same thing is going to happen in the lot just to the north of it and maybe even the middle one. And so they've looked at that and they're going to send to their engineers for further study this requirement, and they're pretty optimistic that a cut like that can be done that will contribute to the safety of and facilitate the exits of that. So again, I think I've met the requirement. I met with the company that they understood it. I think they would, no one likes to be told you can't do a U-turn if they've been doing a U-turn. But I think in the long term, this would be a better solution if we can get that curve cut and traffic can exit. And it may not be right at that entrance there. They may have to go up a little bit, maybe 50 yards. The exact location where they could put one in there is to be determined. But I've got outlined here, this is the second reading of the ordinance prohibiting U-turns on Lock Hill Summit. You can approve or disapprove it. And possible course of action is direct staff further to look at that curb cut, which I'm already doing. So that concludes my update, Mayor.
Okay, in talking to Daryl and Daryl's conversations that he's going to have with the engineers, are they requesting that we postpone consideration of this until they have an engineering study back? Or is that not, or are they just basically saying, hey,
No.
curb cut going in there, we're fine, we know that it's going to work, and we're happy to go with that?
No, there's no significant objection from 4350 to the no U-turn. I talked to people coming out of that said, oh yeah, it's kind of dangerous and it's kind of sporty. And again, I remind you, from the left-hand lane, my Ford F-150 cannot make that turn and U-turn it without going into the other lane. People recognize that, and the people that I talk to recognize that it's more hazardous than if you were just coming from there. The issue is that it takes, and the traffic builds up, especially at 4:30 and 5 o'clock, as everyone's exiting from that piece. So this becomes a solution that's not necessarily dependent upon this. If that made sense.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance number O-2016-004, approving a no U-turn sign on Lock Hill Summit at the southern entrance of Bentley Manor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Alderman Barrier has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Alderman Heisel has seconded the motion. We're now open for discussion. Alderman Ross.
My concern is, and I had this concern last time, you spoke to the building owner and the manager. I can appreciate the fact that the presentation went in such a way that they said, oh, okay, fine, we'll deal with it. But I still think when the land was sold and they knew where their people were coming and going from their building, that's something that we should take into consideration. And I think a curb cut is a great solution for that, but I need to know, first of all, who owns the lot now, the empty lot? You guys still?
Yes. Yes, the partnership Shavano 17.
Darrell, please come to and address some of these questions.
And then the other issue is who would be paying for the curb cut and how quickly could it be done?
This is Darrell Lang, Denton Development. Darrell is a subject matter expert on this item.
Hi, good evening. I briefly met with Dan Kossel on this afternoon, and Mr. Denton was also in the meeting. And, we focused on that northern drive, right there. We have no objections to how can we make a curb cut work there. Obviously, you have a decel lane. I'm not an engineer, but we'd have to have the engineers take a look at if there's a necessary decel lane. How do we make that median cut work? But that is the logical area, and when I mean logical, let's just call it plus or minus 50 yards there, because we do own, the partnership owns that plus or minus 3.5, 4 acres there just to the north, and now would be the time to do something and plan that while the ownership is still, in our partnership. There's a question of funding. Most likely that would come from the partnership. I doubt 4350 Lock Hill would
Want to pay for it?
yeah, want to contribute anything. The ship has probably sailed on that. And I just we did not even talk about funding in our meeting today at Bitter Blue. We just thought, hey, it's an idea, we should pursue it, and then see how we fund it.
And did you think about possibly doing an easement on the lot that's owned by Shavano to give these people access if you have to do the curb cut up higher?
Well, I think that land's still owned by Shavano 17.
Right. So, but where the driveway is now, that's all part of 4350, or that's part of?
I need to pull out the documents. When this was originally a 9-acre, one track, it had 4350, and they had an option on the adjoining track. I believe we have cross-access already in place.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that we have a shared drive agreement.
Okay.
So I think I think we have a really good foundation for this. We just need to cut loose on some engineering, get some plans drawn, and then look at, the cost and how do we pay for it.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Alderman Heisel.
I just wanted to be clear, the cost for the U-turn sign is $60. That's what's represented here. And if I'm correct, the 4350, as you can see from the map, it's a little bit like going grocery shopping at a lawn, where there's one area where if you want to exit to Northwest Military, the only way you can turn is right. Here, we have 2 egresses. Folks at the north end, if they park up north and they don't want to do a U-turn and be in violation of the U-turn that we post, they can go up to the south exit and take a left, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any further questions? Alderman Barrier.
Yes, I wanted to ask, if we do the no U-turn, where's all that traffic going to do? Is it going to bottle up now at the light in days of Allah? Because they're going to go somewhere and make a U-turn.
Yeah, it will. Most of the traffic does go right anyway. I'll just in unscientific observations. And most of the traffic that's going to go north already exits in my observations, from the south entrance. A few of them have figured out that if they go up to the north side, they get the right of way, and then they can skirt around and they can do that. And that's what they've told me. So, I mean, that's kind of the way it is. And if you're going to go right, and after a while it's backed up to the south, I would assume that you're going to then go up to the north, and people tend to find solutions when they do that.
Okay, do we have any further questions?
Just
Darryl,
one
do you have a comment?
We see it as an opportunity to hopefully solve a couple issues. Solve the U-turn issue in front of Bentley Manor. That makes it better for everybody, residents and commercial. And then, plan something for the future that takes in consideration the future development. It might solve two issues.
So what you're saying is the Bitter Blue and Denton communities both encourage us to have a U-turn sign there as well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Darryl. Anybody have a final question? If there are no further questions or further discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Item number 6.5, discussion action consideration to increase participation in the Aquifer Storage Recovery ASR lease program. Bill, I know that y'all been talking about this at the Water Board for a while, and it's pretty confusing when you add the second item in there with you. Do you want to address these separately, or do you want to be able to talk about them jointly?
I think separately is better.
Okay.
The ASR program, again, was the same program that we participated in last year. And this is the program where we can choose acre feet that we own or lease, and we can then designate it as part of the program, and then we get reimbursed fees, a certain fee, and we don't have to pay the Edwards Aquifer fees associated with those acre footage. Comes out to about $200 per acre foot. Last year, we approved a recommendation for 2 100-acre leases with the idea that we didn't want to get into a 200-acre lease and then get bound into a renewal piece of that. And so that was in May, and then what we did was so we had 2 of them. And then in November, we renewed one automatically because we said that's a no-brainer, and we let the other one expire. So we currently are in the program with 100 acre feet. And I will just tell you, at the end of last year, we used 300-something acre feet, and we had a large amount of acre feet left over that we could have put in. So we had 300. We had some restrictions. We had added 200 more feet in, and so we had a really large gap in there. The water committees met twice. We briefed them in January. We briefed them again in February. Actually, we briefed them in 2 months. It's in my notes. Okay, we briefed them in February and then in March. In March, we specifically provided a recommendation for 200 additional acre feet. So that's a total of 300 acre feet total for this year. And the Water Advisory Committee passed a motion recommending to City Council that the City Council approve participation in the ASR program for an additional 200 acre feet, which would be 300 total. So you can see in the background information, there's a lot of backup. We did a lot of worst case scenarios and said, okay, what happens if we go into stage 3 drought for every single day from the rest of the year, and we still have buffer with 200, and so forth. So the council, the Water Advisory Committee did consider doing more, but again, it's kind of hard to predict the future, and if you participate more, but then you use more, then you find yourself in a bind, and we don't want to do that. So the recommendation of 200 is made with a little bit more buffer than you might think, okay, we could get more out of it. You probably could. But again, part of this is, as we get the Trinity online, we get more and more historical data, and we can then predict in the future more certainty. Other consideration for not adding more this year was that we got the water tank offline, and we do know that we have additional usage that's coming out from the Edwards Aquifer, although we're trying to maximize the Trinity. So the Water Advisory Board's recommendation is to proceed and to enroll 200 more acre feet into the program.
For a total of 300
For a
acre
total
feet.
of 300.
Okay.
And the cost savings of that is pretty significant.
Okay. Do we have a motion to have a participation of 300 acre feet in the Aquifer Storage Recovery Lease Program.
So moved.
Alderman
Second.
Heinzelman has made the motion. Alderman Mazel has seconded the motion. We're now open for discussion. Are there any questions? Alderman Ross?
I just decided, since we seem to be doing this every year and we're making money on it, where exactly is that money going? And maybe it shouldn't just go into the general budget. It ought to be put away for something.
Well, it is going to the water fund,
Yes, I meant the water fund.
and the water fund has again, initiated a capital replacement and
Yes,
fund, a portion of that.
Last year it offset because we had to pay, they no longer offered the rebate.
right, right,
So last year it just offset our expense that we didn't get to collect,
right.
or not collect, but get.
But this year, we knew when we did the budget that we didn't have that anymore.
12,000 right now is, we already have 12,000 of this budget. This 24,000 will be additional revenue that.
Okay. The consideration of where we're going to use the money is not actually an item on the agenda, so we're going to stop at that point. Thank you for your clarification, Laura. But Alderman Ross?
It
Yeah.
is an item on my agenda.
I know, it's on your agenda.
That's fine.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments? If there are no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We have approved the participation in the Aquifer Storage Recovery Lease Program to the extent of 300 acre-feet. Item 6.6, discussion action consideration to participate in the Aquifer Storage Recovery Pooling Program. Bill?
Yeah, I wanted to separate this, Mayor, just because in the previous one, we take all the risk. We allocate 300 acre-feet, and if we don't, if we fall short and we overextend ourselves, then we've got to find extra acre-feet. But I would say that in talking with the Edwards Aquifer folks is that, they want to fill the ASR even more, and there's a lot of unused acre-feet to go every single year. And what they said was, well, it's harder for one city, and I'm just paraphrasing, to take what might be their 100 extra acre-feet or their 200 and bet on not having a dry season there. They said that if I can pull up a whole bunch of acre-feet into a program and then take a safe factor like 30 or 40% and say that it's pretty good expectations that they will be able to use 30 to 40% of that, and then we could fill up 30, 40% of that program. So that's kind of what it was. You've got an information paper that talks about it. This is a pool. We would say, okay, we have historical 5-year average of 500-something acre-feet. We've just added 300 more into the ASR program. That's about 850 acre-feet. We own about 1,200-something acre-feet. And so Edwards Aquifer might say, of which a lot of that will be on restriction if they put phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 in. So maybe there's 150 buffer zone that they would say that we're probably going to have. They make the call that we're going to now enroll, all we do is sign up for the pooling program. They determine I'm going to enroll 100 acre-feet into Shavano Park's program, and 200 from Alamo Heights and so from other, and then they have thousands of acre-feet associated with that. At the end of the year, based upon the drought restrictions and the reductions, and there's an example table in your program, if we've used all of ours and we don't have any left, we don't get any money. But if there are acre-feet that they can use from our program based upon what they enrolled, we will get $50 an acre-foot for each acre that they actually want to enroll in the pooling program. And if they fall short, then they can't pump it, and there's no risk to the city. So our recommendation is that we sign up for it. Last year we didn't, it was a new program, we didn't even know about it. We didn't sign up for it. There was a number of acre-feet that we didn't use, we didn't get them reimbursed. This won't be as much of reimbursement we will get otherwise, but it'll be $50. And we don't know how many acre-feet they're going to enroll. They would make their evaluation and assessment, and they would make their own determination. Questions?
Okay. Do we have a motion to consider participation in the ASR pooling program?
So moved.
Alderman Heitzelman has made a motion
Is the motion to consider it or to approve participation in?
to consider participation in. It's to open it up for discussion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Alderman Barrier seconded the motion. We are now going to discuss participation in the ASR pooling program. Do we have any questions for City Manager Hill? Alderman Ross. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
Alderman Mazel.
if they choose how many acre feet they're gonna need, is what I'm gathering, correct? Are they only gonna take the unused acre feet? They're not gonna, if Shavano Park, if it's a drought, and we use more than our usual acre feet, if it's in the pool, will that put us under restrictions, or will they take from our acre feet that we actually need?
It will have zero effect on us. That means that they can't pump it and put it in the ASR. They'll have to go somewhere else.
It's kind of a no-lose proposition is what this is, which is different than the prior program. Okay, do we have any other discussion points? Alderman Ross, did you have any?
No.
Okay, I'm now going to entertain a motion to participate in the ASR pooling program. Do we have a motion to participate in the ASR pooling program?
So moved.
Alderman Mazel has made a motion to participate in the ASR pooling program as recommended by the Water Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Barrier has seconded the motion. Okay, we're now open for discussion again. Do we have any discussion?
And we're sure the Water Committee likes this.
Yeah, they liked it when I was there.
Okay.
Okay?
Did they vote on this?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any further questions? If there's no further questions or discussion, all in favor of participation in the ASR pooling program, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
So, the course of action had 1, 2, and 3 options, so now we agreed to participate in it?
Yeah,
Do we need
we're
to-
now going to participate. Bill, what is our recommended level of participation for the Water Committee?
This doesn't require, that was the previous staff action, which had, 100, 150, 200, 250.
Oh, okay.
This is just, you either participate or you don't, and then they determine how many acre feet. They're going to try to predict how many extra acre feet we have. And they're going to be safe, and they're going to use a conservative piece to that, and they're going to, they enroll into it. They enroll those feet in, and if they're making a bet that if, okay, we get Shavano Parks right, we're going to underestimate, Alamo Heights, and over the mix, we're going to easily get 30% or 40%, whatever their equation is.
Okay, sorry.
And at the end of the day, it's kind of a take or pay type of proposition. Unless we pull the water back, they're going to pay us. So it's heads we win, tails we win. And so it's a different kind of program than we normally see. Okay, I think that we voted to participate. We're now going to proceed to item 6.7. Discussion action, logo survey results. Bill, what can you tell us? City Manager, discussion action, logo survey results. You
No,
did-
no, it is 6.7, Mayor, setting a date for a workshop.
Oh, okay. Well, I was looking at an earlier version before we
Probably
revised
so.
that. Okay, great. Okay, item 6.7, discussion
That's on
action.
next month's agenda because
next month.
they had until April 1st to actually turn their stuff in.
Okay, very good. Item 6.7, selecting a date for a workshop concerning the annual evaluation of the city manager. This is that time of year where we consider the annual evaluation of Bill Hill. We have a format that has already been proposed and carried forward. Bill and I have worked some on trying to streamline the accumulation of data to report on that survey that's done by each one of the council members. And so hopefully we can come up with common grades a little bit more easily than we did last year, which brings us to selecting a workshop date. Does everybody, Bill, do you have any recommended dates that you'd like to set forward for us?
Well, there's 4 dates, which we don't have anything. Okay, so my assumption is that council the rating period ends 31 March, and that you will evaluate me at the April meeting prior to the council, elections and so forth. Things, may or may not change, but we agreed before that the rating period should be complete before the election period. So that means that you'll go into executive session, you'll give me your evaluation in April. In order to do that, the workshop would explain it and go over the procedures, how you're going to do it, the timing of it, and work through that. So there's only really 4 dates that are available that you're going to be able to react to: 30 March, 31st March, 5 April, and 7 April. You could, maybe we could change, Water Advisory Committee meetings, tree meetings. There's other citizens, and I've got some other dates there for council to consider. I'm assuming you're not going to want to do it on a Friday, so you're really talking about 4 dates, and you only got about 2 weeks.
Okay, what's the water date that we could move the water committee on so that we
The
can?
11th of April.
Okay. Okay, so the dates for consideration are March 30 and March 31, April 5, 7, and 11.
Just April 5, 7, and 11. You're within 72 hours for March 30th and 31st.
Okay,
Today's March 28th.
okay, thank you. I'm glad that you're good with math.
I knew we
April,
brought you here for some reason.
April 5, 7, and 11. Has everybody got their calendars out?
I would say the best one for me would be April 7th or April 11th.
You're not available on the 7th or the 11th. Okay, who else is not available? What days are people not available? Let's not go with what's best. I appreciate that, Alan.
Okay.
And I love that concept, but what days are just not workable?
The 11th doesn't work for me, the 7th.
Okay,
7th works for me, the 5th does not.
Yeah, the 5th for me also does not work.
okay, ladies?
7th works for me.
Okay, do I have a motion to have a city council workshop concerning the annual evaluation of the city manager on April the 7th?
So moved.
Alderman Ross has made a motion to have a workshop concerning the annual evaluation of the city manager on April the 7th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Barrier seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion?
What time?
6:30? 6:30? Okay, at 6:30. We have a motion for the meeting on April the 7th at 6:30 as a workshop. Do you accept that revision
Yes.
in your motion? And the second accepts the revision as well. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Item number 7, all matters listed under this item are considered routine by the city council and will only be considered at the request of one or more aldermen. Coincident with each listed item, discussion will generally occur. Does anybody have items?
Did you skip the city manager's report?
That is the city manager's
Oh,
report.
God.
Item 7. 7, does anybody have an item in 7.1
Oh,
that
it's
they
the
would
same
like
on
to
the
discuss?
consent agenda,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay. Okay, if there's no discussion, then we'll proceed to item number 8. Consent agenda, all matters listed under this item are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion on these items. If discussion is desired by any alderman on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. With unanimous consent of council, I would like to remove the approval of a resolution requesting suburban cities representation in the San Antonio Water System Board of Trustees. Okay, without objection, that item is removed. And so I now am seeking a motion to approve items 8.1 through 8.4. Do I have a motion to consider?
What about 6?
8.6.
Okay, and 8.6.
So moved.
Alderman Mazel has made a motion to consider 8.4 through 8.6, striking item 8.5 from consideration by council. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Alderman Ross. All in favor, there being no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Item number 9, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion. It would, y'all, with y'all's consent, we removed it from the agenda. We just struck it from the agenda. It's not for consideration. Okay, Alderman Mazel has made a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Do we have a second? Alderman Barrier has seconded the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. We are adjourned.